My background is as dark as night, which means that only one thing can be true. We have a new patch for Darkest Dungeon, and we gotta dig into all the details of what has changed and what we can look forward to the next time we launch the game. So without further ado, here is Oblivion's Gaze, build 0.17.418. A lot of stuff in this one. I was a little caught off guard because it came so quickly on the heels of Altar of Hope, but first foremost, the headlining feature is the new confession, Obsession, which is one of the chapters, essentially. That means that there's going to be a new ordainment, a new boss. In addition to that, they're rolling out a hero goals system, much more developed than the one that we've already seen, more variation in regions, new region modifiers, and new audio for the academics. So those waners are going to be coming fast and furious. But first of all, the new confession. My confession is that I have yet to play the new patch. I'll be playing it tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So if you want to come join me there, please be my guest. But a new confession means three things. It means a new chapter, aka a new tick on the little chapter selector at the very beginning of the run. It means a new ordainment. For those who aren't familiar, an ordainment is the modifier for stronger enemies that you encounter. So each chapter, each confession has its own ordainment that adds certain properties. We don't know what all of those properties will be. As an example, for the second one, for resentment, it has the chance to apply a burn and a few other things, some additional resistances, etc. And then last but not least, we have a new mountain boss. No idea what it might be. So far we have brain and we have lungs, so expect a vital organ and expect it to be nasty. But I'll be going in blind tomorrow, so be there or be square. The next major change is hero goals. So we already have a version of this in the base game, which is if you select a wanderer, making it to the second inn will reward you with 1 candle. But this is clearly a system that they just kind of did a base run on, and now they're going to be adding more to it. So what is the more that we're getting with this particular patch? So each hero, when generated at the crossroads, will have a personal goal. If you complete a hero's goal, it will award candles at expedition end in value shown on the goal. The more difficult the goal, the better the candle reward. Candles gained from completing hero goals are kept even when the expedition is failed, mid-region, or abandoned. This is really important because one of the things that Red Hook have mentioned several times is that they want losing to feel like a really tough choice. Like if you think you're not going to make it through the next region, you want to be faced with a difficult choice, but they feel like they swung a little too far in the other direction. It was a little too punishing. They've already rolled that back a little bit, but I think long-term hero goals are going to be their solution for this. When you can't necessarily complete a run in its entirety, you can get a solid bank of candles from focusing on certain goals. Initially, all of your heroes will generate with very easy tutorial goals. These are presumably the Wanderer goals that we've already seen. And as you complete the goals, this will open up the standard pool of easy, medium, and hard goals. So there's going to be varying levels, and it'll be interesting to see what kinds of things they mix into goals that they consider to be hard. Presumably, they may require you to remember certain things, avoid doing certain things, etc. Goals persist for that expedition only. When a new expedition is started, new goals are generated. Tip: hero goals are a very useful way of farming candles. So they're trying to make it more approachable for new players, make it so that the only way to get that huge payout of candles is not just winning chapters. Next up, we have region variations. Each region has been updated with enhanced visuals and a district sub-biome to enhance immersion and create more variety in your journey. This is a really cool concept. Basically, the way I'm interpreting it now, and we'll clearly see tomorrow when we actually dive into the game, is that somewhere in the middle of a region, you're going to have kind of like a biome shift, and all of a sudden, in the Sprawl, as an example, you'll be going through a sewer section. In the Tangle, you'll be going down into the roots of great trees underground. In the Feeder, it'll be withered fields. and in the Shroud, it will be a small islet stacked with rotting coral. So it's a way for them to add some visual dynamics, and what I'm really interested to see if there will also be a new battle background for events that take place in these locations, if there'll be any visual differences, or if it's strictly a stagecoach change. Either way, I think regional variation is going to add to the visual appeal of the game and should be really nice. The other thing they're adding is regional modifiers. They're adding 10 new ones, and they're giving us a taste of 3 of them that give us a feel for how transformative these are going to be. This is going to be added to the regional modifiers that they already have, like Blood Moon, etc. So strategic plan is going to be a 33% battle advantage chance. That's pretty transformative, and I think the reason they included that was to let us know that they're not messing around. Heavy Winds is going to be minus 20 max flame, which is a super interesting dynamic they haven't used yet, but that would mean you will never be able to get the speed boost from having a full torch, basically. I believe at 80 torch you don't quite get the speed, or you might only get it for a very short period of time. Either way, it's going to be more difficult to, and you won't be able to depend on keeping your torch up and as a result getting that speed. Makes things like Snappy Swig harder to activate. And then last but not least, Big Game is 100% creature den scouting and 200% creature den chance. I presume this means 2 creature dens, but only time will tell on that one. Looking forward to seeing all of these regional modifiers. As for heroes, these are pretty minor changes. Non-damaging bounty hunter skills will no longer count towards preventing stall penalties, and regional act out attacks will no longer consume, relationship act out attacks will no longer consume strength and crit tokens. This is always a pet peeve of mine, so I'm really excited about this one. Basically what that means is when one of your heroes assists another hero, they will not consume tokens that you very carefully curated for their next big attack. It was a frustrating thing, and it basically means that positive relationships have one less downside. We also have some cultist changes. So first of all, altars can now use the Altar of Obsession skill during relevant confession. That just means in Act 3, the altar will have a new ability, which is the Altar of Obsession ability. We've seen that for resentment, that's a crit token, and for denial, that is stealth tokens. Speaking of denial, the Altar of Denial modifier will now have the potential to give 2 stealth tokens. This is a little bit spooky because, as far as I know, there are no enemy abilities that say removes all stealth, which means that the disadvantage or the danger of having, say, an exemplar get stealth becomes a lot more severe because the exemplar will be untargetable for a longer period of time. This means that skills that remove stealth may be rising in value. Time to invest now. Altar of Bone removes blind tokens if it is the confession, if the confession is obsession. So bone weaving is going to be removing blind tokens. This is a pretty interesting nerf to smoke bombs. I think what they're seeing right now is that exemplars are best countered by heavy use of smoke bombs. I think most of us stack them up kind of endlessly, and this is going to be a way for the altar in the exemplar fight to purge blind tokens, making those preludes and falls more deadly and more likely to hit. 2 changes that I didn't see coming, but I think are rather interesting, is the Cherub now moves back only 1 rank, and the Evangelist only moves forward 1 rank when they are out of position. So basically what this means is Shuffle is getting a very subtle nerf in the double Evangelist, double Cherub composition. And then last but not least, reduced chance of out-of-position attacks generating worship to 33% from 60. So again, what this means is you pull a Cherub to the front, and it is less likely to generate a worship token in the same way that an Evangelist is less likely in the front. I think, again, this is very good because it rewards using move abilities to try to negate or lessen the effect of cultists. Now, the Shroud. Heroes have a low chance of healing 1 stress when the fog lifts. I think this could be almost 100% chance and it wouldn't be overpowered, but any stress healing is welcome. And then audio added heaps, oodles, tons of new academic lines to the game. So Wayne is going to be coming back in force. And then added spawning ground, mist FX, alter UI revisions. Only time will tell. Now on to the miscellaneous fixes. These are nothing particularly to write home about, but worth talking about very briefly. So some stagecoach items were improperly categorized rarity-wise, which impacted draw chance and also prices, and or had incorrect rarity borders displayed. These have been corrected. The ones that are of note to me are the Super Storage Trunk, previously the Jumbo Storage Trunk, I believe. I think its name changed there, and the Assay Gear. Both of these showed up in quite a few of my runs and are exceptionally powerful. Assay Gear in particular is a huge infusion to economy, and we were seeing it fairly frequently. I'm guessing we'll be seeing less of it, and we'll be seeing less of Jumbo Trunk as well. Many of these are the better items, so I think we're going to see a decrease in the prevalence of the really good stagecoach upgrades moving forward. And now for some sundry odds and ends. Adjusted camera position for the Protege's house and the confession screen at the start of the run, so different framing there. G will now toggle our regional goals panel. Fixed an issue with double-clicking loot, breaking things. Apparently also max health wasn't working quite right with memoried heroes. We hadn't been doing a ton with memories, so I don't think that's a huge deal. Remove delay on banter effects to fix soft lock. We always like to see that. And then fixed an issue where the tutorial archive scroll when selecting entries. So basically just some tutorial cleaning up. Various graphics fixes, fixed issue where the path tab for heroes at the crossroad was disabled if they had memories. This one surprises me. I assume that your path is locked if your hero has a memory and had a particular path. I didn't think you could change paths, but if that's not the case, that's very interesting. Enabled the regional goal panel to be accessible in the Sluice, Valley, and Mountain. Added candle reward tooltip on the hero goal UI. Fixed an issue with hero ribbon swapping position. Never saw that one. Increased the run survive count on memoried heroes. And then removed the use of 99 tokens. So this was shorthand for removing all tokens that were currently available. I think this is user friendly, but I think we all understood what it meant. Next up, fixed an issue in the inn where a hero would stop animating, fix some in items drag and drop issues. We saw some of these. We saw some like duplicating visually that never meant we had additional items. Mouse over for items in the story screen. Fixed riposte timeline stalling and soft locking the game. Didn't see that one. Fixed an inconsistent lighting in the result screen. Fixed Altar of Hope Watchtower speed buff showing up in a source tooltip, and then tooltip position cleanup. So these are all just polish. Fix an issue where the dot tooltip appeared empty initially. I think I have noticed that one. Fix an issue where tooltips jump on initial open in the Mastery Trainer. Stagecoach max speed and acceleration increased by 10%, so the runs will go a little faster, at least for the driving minigame. Does not apply to the initial navigation. And then full stacked inventory items have a gold colored quantity label, so you'll be able to tell when they are full. That right there is your quick and dirty overview of the new Obsession's Gaze patch. I'm pretty excited about playing it tomorrow and hope to see you all there. If this guide was useful to you at all, please toss me a like and a subscription. I can't tell you how much it helps. And other than that, look forward to seeing you in the darkest dungeon in the future. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.